You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network.
Fabulous.
Live every Sunday with the very latest food, beverage, and travel trends.
Amazing.
Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
Good day, everyone. Fantastic to have you with us, joining us on this, well, somewhat dreary, wet Sunday morning, Sunday fun day, as we like to call it here on the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. I'm your host, Randall White, joined by the talented, the vivacious, and loquacious Patty Pyburn. Hello, Patty.
Good morning, everyone, on this Sunday fun day.
Have you ever been called loquacious?
I haven't. I was just thinking, what does loquacious mean? I feel
chatty.
like chatty. Oh, yeah. Okay, that applies. I was like, I feel like that was a vocabulary word at some point in some class somewhere.
Yes, indeed it is. Hey, we should let you know that this hour of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio is brought to you by Eberly Winery in Paso Robles. Yeah, right there in the heart of Central Coast wine country. Open daily from 10 in the morning until 6 o'clock in the evening with complimentary, that equals free, complimentary wine tasting and cave tours, voted by Wine Spectator as one of the best tours on the entire Central Coast. As I see the Central Coast, I see it from Santa Cruz to Ventura.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you're in Ventura, you feel like you're starting to enter LA, and when you're in Santa Cruz,
Starting to be in Southern California.
Yeah, and Santa Cruz definitely, it doesn't connect to the Bay. It's not one of the counties that actually touches the Bay, one of the 9 Bay Area counties. But I don't know. I think a lot of people that live there consider
they more associate with Northern California.
Yeah, a big chunk of them commute into San Jose,
Right.
for work and that sort of thing. But at any rate, one of the best tours on the Central Coast, Eberly Winery, located on 46 East in Paso Robles. You can log on to eberlywinery.com. That's EBERLE winery.com. So straight ahead, this hour of the program, California has a growing culture of sharing. Have you noticed that? People just willing to share? I haven't, but in the
I want them to share with me more then, if that's the case.
Well, what we're talking about is bicycles. We're speaking with the man behind new programs springing up throughout the state that let you share a bike rather than own one. Because,
They do that in Europe, and it works really well.
It really does. And I'm surprised this hasn't taken off in California yet, but we're getting there. And then also, California has a new law, just went into effect on the 1st, that allows home bakers and food makers to sell their artisan treats at public events like farmers markets. It's been illegal up until this point.
Right.
For you to do that, we'll speak to the man who helped write the law.
Very cool.
And it's one of our old favorites. Well, not to say that he's old. I just mean we've been using him for a long time. Gabe Saglia will be in with some of the hottest deals in travel. Then next hour, a San Francisco landmark bar forced out of its home that it had been in for decades is reopening this week at Fisherman's Wharf. Actually, that's been delayed. I just got a note last night. It will reopen soon. But
not quite on track for this week as they had planned.
Right. They're reinstalling the ceiling from the old one into the new one.
So it'll really feel authentic.
Exactly. And it's being hung up a little bit. And so they wanted to be ready for it on the 11th, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen now. But at any rate, we'll talk to the owner of this bar. Yes, indeed. And then we welcome Chef Jackie Hanover from the Central Coast landmark Madonna Inn. She'll join us live in studio with some of her cooking tips.
Oh, cool.
Exactly. But right now, it is time for the news with Patty Pyburn. What is making headlines this Sunday morning?
Well, here it is, Randall, from the Eat, Drink, Explore news desk on this Sunday morning. The California ban on shark fin soup remains in effect this morning despite an attempt to delay its full implementation. A federal judge ruled against a group of Chinese restaurant owners and advocates who say the law is discriminatory against cultural traditions. Now, when Governor Jerry Brown signed the California Shark Protection Act in 2011, he said the practice of cutting the fins from sharks and dumping them back into the sea is cruel and harmful to the health of our oceans. The group working to overturn the law vows to move forward despite the judge's ruling. Restaurants can continue to sell existing stock of on-hand shark fins through July 1st. A new study out of UCLA shows further proof that exposure to certain pesticides can lead to the development of Parkinson's disease. Now, the group of neuroscientists say only a small fraction of cases can be traced to genetic causes, and that environmental factors are more likely to blame. Now, the scientists say their research points to a new cellular pathway for the disease not shown by previous pesticide-related studies. The findings could lead to new ways to fight this disease. Parkinson's is a brain disorder that leads to shaking, difficulty with walking, movement, and coordination. Now, 2013 could be an ugly year for frequent flyers with higher fares, fewer choices, and more added fees. According to travel expert Rick Cini, who you've heard on our show in the past, the fare increases are small but could include more than 1 million flights throughout the system. The overall effect could lead to a 7% rise in average fare prices this year, he says. A possible merger between U.S. Airlines and American would lead to fewer big providers and also a reduction in route options. Now, finally, most travel experts agree the airlines will continue to come up with new ways to charge you for extras. Of course, although American Airlines, I shouldn't be laughing at that. American Airlines just rolled back a penalty for coach ticket passengers who want to change flights. However, there is an extra charge at the time of purchase, sort of an insurance measure if you think you will have to adjust your plans.
And we just had a story the other day about Southwest Airlines adding some new fees for your third bag that you check in,
Yes.
I believe it was.
I think that's what it was, yeah.
And also early check-in.
Right.
So what I get it. I understand the whole business model behind it. You're captured by this super low fare.
Yes. Now they've got you.
Yeah. And then you see another airline that's charging, like $100 more or so. And you're like, oh, well, I'm definitely taking this cheaper one. But then you pay $75 for each bag that you have to check.
A little extra if you want to check in early online.
Here and there. And the next
Or
thing.
pick your seat.
Right.
We ran into that when we were traveling. Picking your seat option to keep the group together, that started to rack up little charges.
It's very difficult to compare. In fact, Rick Cini is with a website called Fare Compare, and it's so much harder now to compare fares because you have to take into account all the fees.
Because you're just looking at baseline, and then it varies from place to place what those additional fees are going to be.
Right. So, more of that in 2013. We'll see.
Can't wait.
We'll see.
The solution is stay home.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
No,
well,
that's not fun.
Yeah, but we encourage that here on Eat, Drink, Explore. Take a staycation in California.
Yeah, there's so much to do. We're lucky to be here. All right, well, last story here, Randall. Food and Drug Administration is looking to make some major rule changes in an effort to reduce contamination. The agency suggested the policy moves on Friday that would give some teeth to the food safety law passed by Congress 2 years ago. Now, according to the New York Times, the FDA's changes are aimed at preventing the contamination of produce and processed food. Now, included in the suggestions are requirements that farmers irrigate their fields with water meeting certain standards, and also processors keep food separated if there is a potential to spread harmful bacteria. We'll see what happens with that. All right, I was driving in this morning, ominous looking skies as I was heading into San Luis Obispo. Rain showers for most of the state today, followed up by a clearing trend. That will be a nice little break. Some warming temperatures in the middle of the week. We're looking for highs in the 50s on our Sunday today, but 60s and 70s in the southern half of the state by Wednesday. So
yeah, LA.
A little break.
San Luis Obispo, LA should hit 70 by Wednesday. The rest of the state in the 60s. That's not bad, huh?
Not bad, but a little more rain to get through today first.
Rest of the coastal state, I should say. All right, you're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. We are back in just a moment with a little lesson on sharing. Bicycles, to be specific. Back in a moment. The holidays are now over, but Restaurant Month here in California is just getting started. As January unfolds with a wave of culinary diversity, the hottest place in the state to take it all in is along the Central Coast in San Luis Obispo County. Featured on local menus are ingredients grown on nearby farms, savory seafood caught that day in the Pacific Ocean, and grass-fed beef raised on the county's lush green hillsides, all served with a
touch of Western flavor unique to the region. Not only are these offerings among the best in the nation, but these foods are paired with top local wines, craft brews, and outstanding scenery. When considering your 2013 New Year's resolutions, be sure to include an education for your palate, an experience that can only come from visiting the culinary destination that is San Luis Obispo County. Oh, and I'm sure saving money is on your list of resolutions as well. Perfect, because participating restaurants are offering substantial 3-course menus for just $30. This is your opportunity to sample some of the many establishments you've talked about visiting but never have, or revisiting some of your old favorites. And because SLO County is at the heart of Central Coast wine country, a new element is being added this year called Wine Wednesdays. Now, select restaurants will be pairing their menus with a local vintner's selections, and look for other wine-related options as well. San Luis Obispo County's 6th annual Restaurant Month runs January 1st through the 31st, but don't wait until the month is almost over to start enjoying this annual tradition. Don't hesitate. Find the restaurant of your choice and make your reservations now. For more information, head to sanluisobispocounty.com and start planning your next mouth-watering adventure.
Yo, what's up? This is the Black Eyed Peas, and we're here for RAD, recording artists, actors, and athletes against drunk driving. Music is one of the most important things in our lives, but nothing is more important than life itself. So when you drink and drive, you're risking the life of yourself and the lives of everybody on the road. Don't plan to drive, just plan ahead.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
The traditional light bulb, a groundbreaking invention in 1879. Other groundbreaking ideas from that time: the whalebone corset, the pedal-operated submarine, and the 2-story outhouse. We've come a long way since then. It's time our light bulbs did the same. Visit EnergySavers.gov and learn about energy-saving light bulbs. See, these new bulbs are more efficient than the old ones, like a text message is more efficient than a carrier pigeon. They last longer, too, like how we humans last longer now that doctors use antibiotics instead of leeches. And they cut down on our energy costs, because in our own groundbreaking age of aeroplanes and moving pictures, we deserve a light bulb that saves us some cash. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the program, everyone. 8:19 now the time on this Sunday fun day morning. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore radio show. I'm your host, Randall White, joined by Patty Pyburn, my co-host pick of the week.
Good morning.
Yes. Patty, I know that you took a little spill one time on your bicycle.
Yes. I was going to say one time, but once on the bicycle, that counted.
Yes. And you've been a little bit timid to get back on, right?
Very timid to get back on.
Yeah. How long ago did that happen?
20-some years ago.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was that long. I was picturing you doing it in Shell Beach, but
oh, no. No, I was in my early 20s.
Okay. Well, for those of you out there that do get back on the bike, some people don't get on simply because they don't have one.
Right. And it's a big investment if you don't think you're going to use it a lot.
Right. You know, because some people, it's just a 5 or 6 time per year thing. And does that really warrant spending hundreds of dollars on a bicycle?
Right. And then it's not that. Then a bike helmet and a bike lock, and then how do you transport it? You need a bike carrier on your car if you're going to do, then all of a sudden you start thinking, at least that's how my brain works.
Right. Well, because of that big obstacle around the country and around the world, really, the concept of sharing has come up. And California hasn't had a lot of that. I think maybe because a lot of the people here already had bikes, but we have a huge population.
Right.
And so there is a company that Bike Nation that thought, you know what, I think this would work. And they're springing up currently in Southern California. Derek Fretheim with Bike Nation USA joins us to talk about this growing situation. Hello, Derek.
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you. And when have these bikes already been implemented in portions of Los Angeles?
Yes, we're operating in Anaheim, and towards April of this year, we'll be in downtown Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Fullerton as well.
And Fullerton as well, Long Beach. So Anaheim currently, then
Correct.
LA, then Fullerton and Long Beach. That's covering a big portion of the area. LA was not a very bike-friendly city for years, but that's changed in, I don't know, what, like the last 5 to 10?
Yeah, the mayor had gone on a trip about 4 years ago to Copenhagen and saw how bikes were being utilized there. And ironically, a couple of months after that visit, he crashed on a bicycle, maybe unlike Patty did.
Right.
And it really, he realized that the infrastructure wasn't as well thought out as it should have been. We're a car culture in California, and he really championed an effort to improve the infrastructure in the city, and it's just gone extremely positive since then.
So, Derek, how does your system work? I've seen in different European cities where that works really well, especially in big city centers where people might come in by subway or even by car, park for the day, but use a bicycle then to do their little jaunts around town. And I'm sure they have the little stations. You drop off the bike, you go on your way. So, how is your system working in the LA area?
It works very similar. You have a self-service kiosk where you can go up, swipe a credit card, determine how long you want to have access to the system. It's either 24-hour, 3-day, 7-day type of access, and then select a bike that you'd like to rent. Bike gets released. You ride as you need to where you want to go. We have a map that shows where all the stations are located, so you can see where your connectivity is. Once you're finished utilizing that bike, you redock it at any one of our stations, and that's pretty basic.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, it sounds similar to what they've installed in Madison, Wisconsin. I saw it there, and that's a huge bicycle city. And so I'm wondering, who is your target market? People that live in L.A. or people traveling to L.A. who don't want to throw 4 bicycles on the back of their car, as they head down from the Bay Area?
Actually both. We have programs that are catered to residents for, in downtown Long Beach, for example, we have high-rise residential and providing connectivity for those folks. There's also the visitor, as you mentioned, people that are traveling and don't want to utilize or put their bike on the back of their car, don't have that capability. We also have the student population that we're working with in Long Beach and Los Angeles and Fullerton. There's the campuses there that we're going to provide connectivity to, and then obviously those folks that are working in an area where they can take either the Metrolink or light rail or transit. We provide that first mile, what they call first mile, last mile connectivity for those individuals getting from the train station maybe to their place of employment, and then utilizing the bikes during the day for any sort of errands or lunch or something like that.
With rental cars, you pay a penalty if you pick up at one location and drop off at another. How does it work with the bike rentals?
Our program is different. We don't pay. You don't pay a penalty for that. In fact, the first 30 minutes of every ride is free.
Wow.
So the way our pricing program works is you pay an access fee to the system, like a fractional. If you're a casual user, it's like fractional membership. And then you get access to the entire system. So for 24 hours, it's $6 to get access to the system. And let's say you rode 10 rides and they were all within 30 minutes, you're at the time of the final 24-hour access period, you're only charged at $6. But if you let's say, for example, you did 9 rides at 30 minutes and then 1 ride at 45 minutes, that 45-minute ride from 31 to 60 minutes is $1.50. So you would be charged the $6 access fee and $1.50 for that 45-minute ride.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, that's not bad. And I think that is the same thing they do in the places we were in Europe, where you get that first initial ride for free. So if you turn it back in, then you are only charged, like you said, just to access the bike. That's a great plan. And being able to turn it in wherever you happen to be is also, I think, really a plus.
I like that. So clearly, for something like this to work, you need a large population base. I'm wondering about smaller college towns like Santa Cruz or San
or even
Luis
San
Obispo.
Luis. Yeah. Does it make sense here to have something like that?
Right.
I think so. It really, you don't really need the density. What you do need is you need somebody that has initial vision. You need to provide that connectivity to areas where people are going. So, for example, Anaheim, we have Disneyland and hotels and that sort of thing, but there is no downtown core. There is no university or college campus. All we're dealing with in that particular market are commuters and visitors coming into the city. So it's a small system. It's only final build out's going to be at 10, maybe 15 stations at the most. But we're providing connectivity to, obviously, from the hotels to, retail establishments. We have a train station there. There's the Honda Center, Anaheim Stadium. So we're providing that type of connectivity. So I think a smaller, university-based town would be a great or ideal opportunity for a bike share program.
So have you looked at any of the numbers where, like, for people to be using this option, say visitors, instead of getting a rental car, and they just hop on a bike and go from their hotel to Disney or what have you? Have you looked at what that does for the impact on the city as far as, traffic or pollution or health? Or have you looked at any of those kinds of statistics?
Well, actually, Patty, we have a active GPS device on our bikes. And then what that active GPS does is it begins to record at time of rental and then stops recording at time of return. And during that time, we track where that individual or where that ride has gone. So we know both in terms of time and distance. We'll know their caloric burn. We know their carbon reduction. We provide energy savings. So all of that information gets sent to them after they return the bike. And if they're a member, an annual member for our system is $75 a year.
Hey, Derek.
That is great.
I need a one-word answer out of you. I know that you did some work with the transportation system in the San Jose area. Any plans to move up north?
We'd love to, but nothing solid right now.
Nothing solid right now. Derek Fretheim, Bike Nation USA. You can check him out online, bikenationusa.com. I love what you're doing in LA. We hope to see it statewide soon. Derek, thanks for joining us this morning.
All right, appreciate the time.
Stick around, everyone. We're back in just a moment.
Some of California's best restaurants, hotels, and homes are perched on steep hillsides with incredible views. But those buildings weren't just thrown there. They were placed on foundations designed and perfected by experts. Throughout much of the Bay Area, those hillside foundations were placed by S.S. Caveney Construction. With nearly 3 decades of experience dealing with the steepest and most difficult terrain, S.S. Caveney Construction is well known for being the go-to company when quality is your number one concern. Hillsides in California, as you know, are prone to drainage issues that can lead to erosion and slippage. S.S. Caveney Construction will solve those problems for you. Get a quote today by contacting the team you need. Head to S.S. Caveney, that's CAVENEY.com, and get your foundation placed correctly the first time.
Hello, this is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and I want to tell you about my new favorite discovery, Yosemite National Park. I recently went there with my husband and children, and we walked the trails to see the breathtaking waterfalls, admired the grand meadows, and giant sequoias. But the future of our national parks is uncertain. Many challenges face our parks today, from polluted air and water to development threats outside their borders and inadequate funding to protect our national heritage. That's why the National Parks Conservation Association recently completed a decade-long assessment of the challenges facing our national parks, along with proposed actions that will ensure our children and grandchildren will be able to enjoy the parks as we have. Our national parks have inspired Americans for nearly 100 years. As we approach the centennial of the National Park Service in 2016, please join us in helping to protect our national park legacy. Find out how at www.mpca.org.
What if it wasn't always about getting ahead? What if you didn't care about being on the fast track? What if your career goals were to change? Instead of flying off to the big interview, what if you flew somewhere else altogether? To embark on a different track, to volunteer in ways you never dreamed of, in places you never imagined yourself being. Like a tiny island in the Pacific, barely visible on a map, but where needs are easy to see. Or a village on the African continent, where just a little training in HIV awareness can change the fate of thousands. What if you decided to share your skills with others and help someone else get ahead? Peace Corps. Life is calling. How far will you go? To find out more, call 800-424-8580 or visit peacecorps.gov.
For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat Drink Explore Media, your lifestyle information source.
Good morning, everyone. 8:33 the time. Welcome back to the Eat, Drink, Explore radio program on this January morning. Heard live on this station each and every week. You know, the next time you head to your local farmer's market, keep an eye out for some new vendors selling prepared food made in their homes. Truly home-cooked breads, jams, and other treats, Patty, because California has a new law that went into effect on January 1st that has opened the door for these types of new products to be sold to the public. I think it's pretty cool. So, Patty, you're a home cooker. You can start selling at the market. Well, we spoke with artisan bread maker Mark Stambler of Los Angeles yesterday, who helped get this law written and passed, and we asked Mark what his inspiration was for taking his issue all the way to Sacramento.
Well, it started out as kind of a personal crusade. I was busted by the LA County Health Department in June of 2011 for selling my homemade bread in a couple of local stores. And I thought to myself, this just doesn't seem right, but I had no idea what to do about it. So actually I did what any rational person in my position would have done. I Googled it, and I just sort of said, you know, how can I sell my homemade bread in California? And Google, for one, sort of came up blank, but there was a reference to a cottage food law. And I thought, well, geez, what the heck is a cottage food law? And so I started looking around, and I discovered that cottage food laws were laws that actually were in effect in 18 states that said that, yes, you could actually bake bread or make some other foods at home and sell them. But apparently, there was no law like that in California. So then, of course, I Googled California cottage food law, and again, came up with very, very few hits on it. But one actually did pay off. It turned out that there was a group up in the Bay Area called the Sustainable Economies Law Center that was interested in seeing if they could get past have passed a cottage food law here in California. So I called them up and I said, hey, I'm interested in doing this as well. I kind of have this personal angle to it. I got busted by the LA County Health Department, and I want to see if there's some way that I can do this legally. And they said, yeah, well, we're all interested in the same thing. There aren't that many of us here in California who are interested in this because not many people know about it, but let's see what we can do. So the first question that we had for each other is, this is great. What do we do? And we decided, well, we've got to draft a bill, a piece of legislation that would serve as California's cottage food law. And we had no idea how to go about doing this. I remember on the phone talking to them, I said, well, great, do you know how to write a state law?
Right.
And they said, no, we don't know how to. They were lawyers, it's a bunch of lawyers up in the Bay Area. And they said, no, we handle litigation and advice, but we've never written a state law. Have you ever written a state law? I said, no. So we really were at an impasse. We just had no idea how to go about doing this when, and this is true story. My phone, I was just sitting here at the computer one day thinking about, geez, how are we going to write a state law? When the phone rang, and it was my assemblyman, Mike Gatto, calling. And he said, I've heard about your problems with the health department down here in L.A., and I want to know if there's anything I can do to help. I said, hey, funny you should call right about now, but we want to write a law. We want to write a state law. And he said, fine, done. I'll be there, and let's get it. Let's work together on this. So he put us in touch with a couple of people in his office, and I want to shout out to John and Taylor. Thank you very much. And they really guided us through this whole process. And we started putting the word out that we needed input on this. We wanted to hear from home bakers who were having problems and wanted to do this same kind of thing that I wanted to do down here in Los Angeles. And we started hearing from people. I mean, we were all kind of shocked. We had no idea that there was this widespread interest in California among home bakers, home food preparers, people who do cakes, cookies, jams, preserves. There's this whole wide swath of people throughout the state who were making food at home and basically just wanted to sell at their local stores and farmers markets, and they were all running up against the same problem. There was just no way to do that in California.
So you got a lot of input together and wrote this bill with your local assemblyman there. And did it get much opposition in Sacramento?
Well, it did, and it got opposition from, as you might expect, the big food retailers and the health departments. They were really skittish about implementing a bill like this because they were afraid that it was going to open up a huge can of worms, so to speak, and really pave the way for home-based food factories. I mean, I remember talking to the man who runs the health department or the environmental health department here in Los Angeles, and he was saying he wouldn't be surprised if people had put in 3 or 4 kitchens in their homes, and were just basically running these things as mills, and and on top of that, I have to say I have a feeling that there was also a bit of skittishness about inspectors coming into home kitchens because really they'd never done that before. I mean, the closest that they'd ever come to inspecting a home kitchen was in like a bed and breakfast or a farm stay, and so they it would be awkward. It would be awkward, and they didn't have any procedures or protocols for it.
So you had to cap it so that there's a limited amount that you could sell?
Yes. Exactly. And this was really at the insistence of the food retailers. They didn't want us to, well, and in a sense, I understood what they were talking about. Look, there are a lot of small entrepreneurs here in California who have gone out and got commercial kitchen space, which is very expensive, by the way, but they were willing to do it so that they could do it legitimately. So the retailers didn't want to have home-based food operators offer them that much competition. But if you think about it, you're really limited by the shelf space you have at home in terms of how much production you can do over the course of a year. And we tried to make that argument with the health officers and the food retailers, but they'd have none of it. They said, no, we have to have a cap of sales cap. So he said, all right, look, if that's what it's going to take to get this passed, okay, we'll agree to it.
What's the cap?
Well, the cap is $35,000 in 2013. 45,000 in 2014, and 50,000. This is gross sales per year in 2015 and beyond.
Okay,
and
that seems reasonable.
We thought that, okay, if you're going to do this, that's pretty. You're right. That's pretty reasonable. They had originally wanted a much, much lower cap, but then we argued, look at the different states, and you'll see that their caps are higher and generally getting higher. Each year they seem to increase them because they don't see a problem with this. Nobody's being run out of business by home-based food producers. And when you think about it, you really are limited by the fact that you have to make this food in a home kitchen.
So, Mark, anyone listening right now who loves to head to their local market or farmer's market, or is a baker at home and has some specialties that they make, after January 1st, now they might find more locally produced in the home items at their local market, or they could also apply to the market to sell some other things.
Right. I mean, we hope so. Look, I mean, you're hearing this in early January. This thing's just been in effect for a few days now, so it's taking time for it to be implemented in different counties. So some counties are up and going, and I personally have gotten my permit to do this, and I've made my first legal sales here in Los Angeles County, and I'm very proud of that.
Great.
But there are some counties where this isn't even up and running yet. I mean, for instance, in San Francisco and Alameda counties, the health departments haven't got their act together yet in order to, and so people cannot even apply in those two Bay Area counties, and we just don't understand it because there are counties that are have much smaller infrastructure there and fewer people.
Yeah.
Inyo County is up and going. I think Tehama County is up and going. But and Los Angeles County is up and going, so it's huge counties and tiny counties, but San Francisco and Alameda, just not yet.
Well, our show can be clearly heard in Alameda County, so hopefully someone will light a fire under the right people and get it going.
We hope so. Look, I mean, there's an awful lot of Facebook traffic about this. I'm hearing from people all over the state in all the different counties. Some are, but the big question mark really is those two counties, San Francisco and Alameda.
Mark, is there a website our listeners could go to sort of see the law and understand it so that they follow the rules correctly?
Yes. The simplest website to go to is just cottagefood.org.
Okay.
Cottagefood.org. Just go there. That's a site maintained by the Sustainable Economies Law Center. And as I say, they're a group of lawyers, so they're very, very punctilious about this.
Excellent. We'll provide a link to that, cottagefood.org. Artisan bread maker Mark Stambler, the man behind California's Homemade Food Act. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Wow. Hats off to him for getting that law written and passed.
They had no idea where to go. How would you ever write it? Then I looked at the bill online, and it's long. I mean, so they really...
Good for him.
Good for him. So, Patty, you're going to start canning and heading down to your local market in Arroyo Grande?
Bring on the barbecue sauce.
She makes great barbecue sauce. All right, we're back in just a moment with travel tips from our good friend Gabe Saglia. 8:44 the time. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. We're back in a moment.
The holidays are now over, but Restaurant Month here in California is just getting started. As January unfolds with a wave of culinary diversity, the hottest place in the state to take it all in is along the Central Coast in San Luis Obispo County. Featured on local menus are ingredients grown on nearby farms, savory seafood caught that day in the Pacific Ocean, and grass-fed beef raised on the county's lush green hillsides, all served with a touch of Western flavor unique to the region. Not only are these offerings among the best in the nation, but these foods are paired with top local wines, craft brews, and outstanding scenery. When considering your 2013 New Year's resolutions, be sure to include an education for your palate, an experience that can only come from visiting the culinary destination that is San Luis Obispo County. Oh, and I'm sure saving money is on your list of resolutions as well. Perfect, because participating restaurants are offering substantial 3-course menus for just $30. This is your opportunity to sample some of the many establishments you've talked about visiting but never have, or revisiting some of your old favorites. And because SLO County is at the heart of Central Coast wine country, a new element is being added this year called Wine Wednesdays. Now, select restaurants will be pairing their menus with a local vintner's selections, and look for other wine-related options as well. San Luis Obispo County's 6th annual Restaurant Month runs January 1st through the 31st, but don't wait until the month is almost over to start enjoying this annual tradition. Don't hesitate. Find the restaurant of your choice and make your reservations now. For more information, head to sanluisobispocounty.com and start planning your next mouth-watering adventure.
Seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
Across the nation, people are stepping up for their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the 6th leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat Drink Explore Media, your lifestyle information source.
You've waited all week, and it's finally here. The Eat, Drink, Explore Weekly Travel Deals Extravaganza.
Extravaganza, 8:49 the time, everyone. Great to have you joining us on this Sunday Fun Day morning. I'm your host, Randall White, with the lovely, talented Patty Pyburn. And it is time to hear insight from the best of the best, Patty, the gurus of bargains. the luminaries of budget travel. And this week, we welcome back to the program our good friend, Travel Zoo's Gabe Saglia. Hey, Gabe. Oh, we don't
Good
have...
morning, Gabe.
Oh, we don't have Gabe on the line? Oh, bummer. So, you know what? I just looked over here at our phone sheet on the, and I realized, no, he's not on the line right there. So, well, what's that? Yeah.
We're giving him a call.
We're going to give him a ring right now. We'll be hooked up with Gabe in no time. You know, Gabe's one of those that we just never bother calling ahead of time because
he's always on it.
He is on it. But he does sandwich our show between two other shows, one in Los Angeles and one out of Sacramento, both television shows.
Right.
And he has all his times like just right. So occasionally, I think it's the Sacramento one, will bleed over a little bit into ours. So that's likely what happened.
The situation.
there.
But he has some great deals, as he always does.
He does. I'll start with his first one, the Ballard Inn, and this is in Santa Barbara wine country. Gabe has stayed there. In fact, if you'll remember back to, I think it was June, his wife and he were celebrating their 8-year wedding anniversary.
And that's where they were.
Yes, I think it was 8 years. And they stayed at the Ballard Inn there. $199 a night regularly.
Whoa.
$360 a night.
That's a big decrease.
A big decrease, and right in the heart of it there in the San Ynez Valley. It's actually called Ballard Township, I believe.
We got Gabe.
He's on. Okay. And we've got Gabe on the line now. Hey, Gabe.
Hey, guys, good to talk to you. My ears were ringing. How you guys doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. We were just talking about the Ballard Inn where you went for your anniversary.
You know what? That's right. It was actually my second night as a married man, and then, of course, we visited about 9 years ago. We visited a couple of times since. But as you were saying, this beautiful four-diamond bed and breakfast there nestled in Santa Barbara wine country. Ballard Township dates back, 150 some odd years, and
wow.
It's just a beautiful, quaint little place. You can bike down to Los Olivos, to Solvang, and on site they've got wine tasting. They've got a great restaurant there as well.
Yeah, you're in such easy distance because Ballard is right there, kind of in between everything.
Well, that's exactly right. It's nestled in between Solvang and Los Olivos. You've got the miniature horse farm just down the way. You've got lavender fields right up the road. It's just a beautiful, bucolic little getaway.
So great access to lots of things to do. And, as always, you have deals that are near and far, Gabe. So Cambria, what a beautiful place. You have a great deal there.
Yeah, this is actually, if you go to Cambria, I am a big fan of staying right along Moonstone Beach Drive, which puts you right across some of the best, tide pooling action on the Central Coast. You're 10 minutes from Hearst Castle, but this place is called the Mariners Inn, and periodically we'll see some of these B&Bs right on Moonstone Beach Drive, offer some pretty great deals, particularly this time of year. They're doing a 2-night special for $99. You get breakfast in the morning, and you've got these, sort of rustic, quaint accommodations right there in front of the water.
That's amazing.
That's a great deal.
Yeah, Moonstone Drive is just is so romantic. You stay there, and there's a footpath that's what do you call it? A boardwalk that they actually put in.
That's right.
That takes you along the rugged shoreline, and it's so nice. And then you head into town, and I was just in with my in-laws in downtown Cambria.
So cute.
Really, really cute. During the holidays is when we were there, but Halloween, they've got all the scarecrows and
that's right. Yeah.
Any time of year you go there, the locals are welcoming you with open arms. Cambria, one of my favorite places in all of California. All right, let's hit the road now, completely out of the United States. And I mean, I can't think of a place more remote than Mount Everest.
Yeah, well, we published this deal this week, and I'm like, you know what? This is actually one of these really fantastic deals that only come along once in a while. So this is an adventure in Mount Everest in Nepal, all right? So if you're an adventurer, this has been probably on your to-do list here for quite a while. 16 days of hiking through the pine forest, passing through the traditional villages in the Himalayas. You get all your meals included, all your camping accommodations. You've got English-speaking guides on site. So this is a 15-nighter, 16-day, once-in-a-lifetime experience. Usually it would run about $2,300 per person to just have this guided 16-day experience, but they've dropped that down by 50% to $1,150 per person. And that's through a company called SNJ Travel Point. And you want to go through a legit, bona fide, guide if you're going to do this kind of a trip. Now, this starts out of Kathmandu, so fly out of LA or San Francisco to Kathmandu, Nepal. airfare will range, depending on when you travel, between about $1,300 and $1,700. So it's an investment, but it's also, one of the more unique experiences I think you got out there.
While you're there, it's less than $100 a day, and it includes all of your meals, your accommodations, and the English-speaking guides. That
sounds amazing.
That's less than a cruise ship.
And by the way, I know that there are a lot of single travelers out there that usually get stuck with these rather high supplement fees for traveling singly, but it's only another like $45, $50 to do it as a single traveler. So even if you're going solo, the price here is half off what it would usually cost. And
very cool.
2 for 1 in the Himalayas. That's not bad.
Love it. Okay, so moving on over to the Panama Canal. Here we come.
Yeah, so this is if you have 15 days to spare, but don't want to do a hike up the Himalayas. You'd rather do
something a little more relaxing.
Something more relaxing, and one of these legendary cruises along the Panama Canal. So 2 weeks out of San Diego on the 4-star Celebrity Infinity, and you end up in Miami 15 nights later. Ports of call include Cabo San Lucas, Puerto Vallarta, Guatemala, Costa Rica. Then you pass the Panama Canal, you hit up Cartagena, Colombia, and end up in Miami. The trick with this one is if you're heading out of San Diego, you've got to find your flight back from Miami to San Diego. But if you do it, with enough leeway, you can actually get some pretty good deals cross country. $12.99 on that 15-nighter. $12.99 with an upgrade to an Ocean View cabin.
Decisions. $12.99 for 15 nights on a on a cruise ship, or almost the same to hike for 15 days.
Yeah. Right. What do you do? Both.
Hey, Gabe. For the Miami back to California flight, you could technically book a round trip, right, and then just not take the second leg of it.
That is true.
Sometimes it's cheaper.
Sometimes it is cheaper. I always test it out. I'll do a round trip fare, and then I'll look at what it would cost me. Particularly if you're not committed to a particular airline.
Yeah.
You could look at one way and then buying them separately to see if you can find some. But I've actually found that, particularly if you do an early morning or a late afternoon flight out of Miami or anywhere in southern Florida, you can get some pretty good deals. And I don't, if it leaves, this is a cruise departing on November 22nd. So depending on the day that you get back, you may want to tag on an extra day there in southern Florida before you actually get back home.
All right, Gabe, we had one more Jamaica, but people can find that online at travelzoo.com. Very easy. Just type in the word Jamaica, and it'll pull up all the deals that are there.
Man.
Gabe Saglia, thank you so much. We appreciate
thanks, guys. Happy New Year, my friend.
Stick around, everyone. Next hour, we're headed to one of San Francisco's landmark bars as the owner prepares to reopen at Fisherman's Wharf after being forced to shut down last year. Also, we welcome Chef Jackie Hanover of the famed Madonna Inn for her specialized cooking tips. Plus, our news trivia segment. You can give us a call, 707-TRIVIA-8. That's 707-TRIVIA-8. I'm your host, Randall White, and we are back in just a moment. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break, and we'll be back on the air shortly. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply
Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
Joined by the talented, vivacious, and wonderful Patty Pyburn. Good morning, Patty.
Good morning, Randall White.
Yeah,
the wonderful and talented and vivacious Randall White.
Thank you. 9 o'clock straight up here on this Sunday fun day morning. Great to have you joining us all, you Crush 92.5 listeners. This hour of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio is brought to you by our good friends at Eberly Winery in Paso Robles. In fact, today's a great day to go wine tasting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a little bit rainy, overcast.
Yeah.
Why not spend it tasting some of the world's best wines? And when you're doing that, stop by and visit Eberly Winery. Their tasting room open 10 until 6. In fact, I think that 6 o'clock close is later than many of the wineries in the region. They also have complimentary wine tasting and cave tours that leave every half hour. Voted by Wine Spectator as one of the best tours on the entire Central Coast, Eberly Winery is located on 46 East in Paso Robles. You can just log on to eberlywinery.com. That's EBERLE winery.com for more information. You can give them a call, find out when the next tour is leaving, find out if it's standing room only at the tasting lounge, and it's a beautiful property as well. So our good friends at Eberly, when you do visit them, make sure you tell them you heard about it on Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. All right. Oh, and if you can't remember their website, just go to eatdrinkexplore.com, and there's a link right at the top of. There's a banner right there across the top of the page.
Easy enough.
It makes it super simple, right, Patty? So, really interesting in that last hour, our guests who helped get that food law passed here in California, the cottage food law. I'm interested to check out the farmers markets in the coming weeks
and how that might change. We might see some new products we haven't seen before.
I think so. And he's an artisan bread maker, and there's nothing I love more than breads that have their own character. So I hope to see a lot of that springing up here on the Central Coast.
I agree. I think that, people who are producers and intimately know their product, they probably have their family recipes and, things that they make, they can now share with us a little more easily.
I love that.
Yes.
Hey, also, if you are a cook and you want to experiment a bit in the kitchen, we have a great guest coming up this hour from the Madonna Inn, the executive chef will be in here to share some of her secrets. Not only is she a Central Coast native, but she also trained under some of the top chefs in San Francisco, and then
brought it back here.
Yeah, mixes both her Central Coast knowledge and San Francisco knowledge to really liven up the menu at the Madonna Inn. So
that's awesome.
At the Gold Rush Steakhouse there. So, but if you want to just get inspired, head to eatdrinkexplore.com and click on our recipe section. I spent the better part of the week updating that portion of the website.
Ooh, cool.
So now, Patty, in fact, I'm going to click on it right now just so I can tell people with some knowledge exactly how you can do this. So when you go to the recipe section of the page, if you look to the right-hand side, it says filter your recipe search. You can filter the recipes based on dietary concerns, global identity, whether it's a
Okay.
Latin American dish or whatever it might be, which meal course, appetizer, soup, salad, sauces, whatever, the cooking method being used, whether you're baking or grilling or that sort of thing, which show you heard it featured on, whether it was on this show here, the Eat, Drink, Explore Sunday Fun Day, or whether it's on our new Thursday night live from the farmers
Right.
market, Market Fresh, and then which protein group you want to use,
Very
whether
cool.
it's beans or nuts or chicken, fish, seafood, that sort of thing. And you can filter out all the recipes, and we'll be continually adding recipes. So if you don't see something you like on there now,
It's going to be growing. That's awesome.
yeah. And so recipes at eatdrinkexplore.com. And anyway, you know what? I'm echoing. My sister tells me. She sent me a little text there. We'll get that fixed during the commercial break. I'm your host, Randall White. We're back in just a moment.
It will be a while before we see the labeling of genetically modified foods, but that doesn't mean you can't be a smart shopper and head to the store armed with knowledge. Our California Love website has a list of local companies producing food right here in California that are GMO-free and, in most cases, organic too. Head to CA, as in California, LUV, as in shorthand for love.com. It's that easy to find our list of local companies with your health in mind. You can also find this list on our Apple and Android smartphone and tablet apps, which are absolutely free in the App Store. Simply search Eat, Drink, Explore and download it to your device. Our California Love website also contains a vegetable and fruit chart so you can more easily buy local produce that's in season. Also, fresh and local recipes from the farmers market. Head there, check it out right now. CALUV.com.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network.
Fabulous.
Live every Sunday with the very latest food, beverage, and travel trends.
Amazing.
Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
I always want to dance to this song off the top here. It could be the coffee also.
It could be the caffeine.
It's called Honeybee. And I found this, there's a guy who produces music online, and then he shares it and says, all you have to do is attribute him. So we attribute him on the website and via Ustream and stuff like that. But
Give him his props.
yeah, I just wanted to shout that one out. Honeybee is the name of the song. And
cool.
It is a toe tapper, is it not? Good.
Randall's getting his groove on Sunday Fun Day.
I am, and that's Patty Pyburn talking. Good morning, everyone. If I didn't already say it, 9:06 the time, and a Happy New Year to everyone, since this is our first show following the New Year's Eve, which I rang in fine style in Palm Springs, California, one of my favorite places to visit every single New Year. People picture it just being hot and stuff, but this time of year it's not.
It's really nice.
Yeah, and it was
the pictures look like you had a lot of fun.
We had a lot of fun. It was a little on the cold side, but we always have dinner every
I think
year.
all of California was on the cold side over the New Year.
Oh, for sure. We always have dinner for our New Year's Eve dinner. We always have at a place called Wang's in the Desert, and it's a Chinese restaurant, and it's so good. But we didn't make reservations ahead of time, so we had to eat at like 5.
That just meant you had more time to have more fun. You got an early start.
That is true, and we did. And I was a little hoarse because I did karaoke the night before.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so. Okay, this hour of the program, everyone. Oh, by the way, if this is the first time you're listening to the show, this is where Californians come to talk about current information on food, beverages, travel trends, so that you can get the most out of your life in a healthy and sustainable manner. Now, this hour, we are headed to one of San Francisco's landmark bars as the owner prepares to reopen at Fisherman's Wharf after being forced to close down the Union Square location last year. This bar was set to open in the coming week, but it is being pushed off just a little bit, and we'll find out why. Also, we welcome Chef Jackie Hanover of the famed Madonna Inn for her specialized cooking tips.
Can't wait to hear from her.
I know. The Madonna
Very
Inn.
cool.
Boy, that's just been around for so long. And I pass it every day on my bike on my way into work. And I got to tell you, that parking lot is always
jam-packed.
Jam-packed. That is for sure. But right now, it's up to you. If you want to play our trivia, the lines are open. 707 is the is the area code 707, and then you just spell out trivia, followed by the number 8. 707 trivia 8 if you want to play. But if you don't, I'll take the reins. And
well, I'm going to put Randall to the test this morning.
I haven't seen any of the questions, and so since shark fin soup was in the news, that will be the topic at hand. And Patty's going to quiz me on these things. Patty, let me just pull up our little trivia sounds here so that I am all set to go. Okay, I'm ready to go. It doesn't look like anyone wants to play.
We haven't had any callers. Okay.
In fact, this is what I say about all the people too shy to play our game.
Come on, give us a call.
One of the whole reasons I want to do this show live is so that we can have interaction with the listeners and such. But I get it. It's Saturday morning. Sunday morning. We used to be on Saturdays. Sunday morning, and people are groggy, and they're like, "Oh, trivia! I don't know if my brain's
up for that.
At this
lazy
point.
Start to a Sunday for lots of people."
That's right, and we're not giving anything away this week, so
there's no incentive.
There's no incentive.
We're just going to clap for you, Randall, if you get anything right.
Okay, thank you. So kick down.
Okay,
First
so
question.
the shark fin soup story that we had earlier, it's a little disturbing. The practice, typically the thing is they catch the shark, they whack off the fin, they throw it back in the ocean.
Very disturbing.
And it's not going to survive, that way.
No,
so,
they float to the bottom.
Yeah, it's just really not for me, and it's an unsettling practice, but it's a popular, long-standing cultural tradition, shark fin soup. So, my first question for you, Randall, shark fin soup has traditionally been served as a symbol of status and prosperity at what life event? A birth of a baby, a wedding, a funeral, a birthday celebration, or a graduation? Choose one.
Okay, because I was thinking it was, I thought they served it for any big occasion. I didn't realize it was specifically
Traditionally, it is tied to one event. Although it is served at other occasions, it is a symbol, a status symbol, but it also has some, claims about healthful properties, which have never been substantiated scientifically.
And this is in Chinese culture.
Chinese culture, yes.
I will say weddings.
Wedding is right.
Oh, okay.
It is most connected to a wedding banquet. So good job, Randall.
Yeah, thank
Yay,
you. I get
Randall.
it's a real bell ringer. Our audio guy, Anthony, says, my ears are ringing.
Yeah. Okay, so next question.
Okay.
Shark fin soup is served often as part of a dish called the Big Four.
All right.
So what are some of the other ingredients in, the other three in the Big Four? Obviously, shark fin soup is one. I'm going to give you some choices. You can pick three of them.
Okay.
Sea urchin.
All right.
Sea cucumber.
All right.
Fish maw, which is a fish bladder.
Okay.
Appetizing. Abalone, lobster, sea anemone, or blowfish.
All right, I'm going to say the fish bladder because I don't think you would have just come up with that.
Fish gills. Yeah,
Right.
Fish bladder, fish maw
All
is
right.
one.
And I'm going to say the sea cucumber.
That is number two.
Only because I used to live just a couple of blocks from Chinatown, and I would walk up and down
So
in
you're
San Francisco.
familiar with these ingredients?
Yeah, and I would walk up and down, I think it was Powell Street,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a lot of this stuff on display in the windows, and I would think, when would I ever buy these things? And so I remember seeing a couple of these.
Yes. So you have one more ingredient. Sea
I'm gonna say
urchin.
the urchin.
Okay, that one. It's abalone.
Oh,
is the other
really
the other ingredient in the Big Four?
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't get the correct number, but I love abalone. My husband Ricardo will not eat it because
He's shaking his head.
As soon as he found out that it's a really large sea snail.
Yeah, that makes it a little sound
Growing
different.
up, I always thought abalone was part of that, the shellfish.
Yeah, that's how I imagined
What do you
it
call
as
that?
well.
Bivalve. Yeah, but it's not. No, it's a snail.
Okay, I've never had abalone.
Oh, you haven't? I
No.
think it's delicious. It tastes like calamari. And
Okay, I like calamari.
Same general texture, but like calamari steak, not like the little tentacles.
Right. Okay, one last question. Are you up for it?
All right, I am.
So shark fin soup is called, and pardon my pronunciation if I don't get it right, Yu-chi.
Yuchi.
Yu-chi, two
Okay.
words. So what does that directly translate to in English?
Oh, all right. Do I get some options?
No.
Okay.
Because I didn't think that far ahead.
I think it means you cheat. And
I didn't make that a multiple choice. Just whatever you think it means.
Yuchi, I'm going to say life health or something.
Okay, I'll say you're wrong.
Okay. It's either going to be golden, family, lucky, dragon, or red.
Oh
No?
my gosh.
None of those?
The literal translation
Or happy.
Or happy, yes.
Sorry.
It's fish wing.
Oh.
And so according to the website sharktruth.com, advocating for people to use other ingredients because there are some San Francisco chefs and people who are offering other ways of making this. So people don't give up the tradition, but have a more, ecological way of doing this. So anyways, the translation they think may contribute to this misunderstanding about what people are actually eating because apparently through some research, a lot of people don't really realize that it's actually what is happening to make the fish wing soup is actually a shark fin and that the shark is just, thrown away.
Yeah.
The whole entire shark is lost, but just to get the fin. So fish
sad.
wing.
I know. All right, Patty Pyburn, thank you. Good set of questions
All
there.
right.
I appreciate that. Stick around, everyone. We are headed back up to San Francisco to learn about a landmark bar that's getting ready to open its doors. Pretty cool story here. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network.
The holidays are now over, but Restaurant Month here in California is just getting started. As January unfolds with a wave of culinary diversity, the hottest place in the state to take it all in is along the Central Coast in San Luis Obispo County. Featured on local menus are ingredients grown on nearby farms, savory seafood caught that day in the Pacific Ocean, and grass-fed beef raised on the county's lush green hillsides, all served with a touch of Western flavor unique to the region. Not only are these offerings among the best in the nation, but these foods are paired with top local wines, craft brews, and outstanding scenery. When considering your 2013 New Year's resolutions, be sure to include an education for your palate, an experience that can only come from visiting the culinary destination that is San Luis Obispo County. Oh, and I'm sure saving money is on your list of resolutions as well. Perfect, because participating restaurants are offering substantial 3-course menus for just $30. This is your opportunity to sample some of the many establishments you've talked about visiting but never have, or revisiting some of your old favorites. And because SLO County is at the heart of Central Coast wine country, a new element is being added this year called Wine Wednesdays. Now, select restaurants will be pairing their menus with a local vintner's selections and look for other wine-related options as well. San Luis Obispo County's 6th annual Restaurant Month runs January 1st through the 31st, but don't wait until the month is almost over to start enjoying this annual tradition. Don't hesitate. Find the restaurant of your choice and make your reservations now. For more information, head to sanluisobispocounty.com and start planning your next mouth-watering adventure.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to decide?
This is Annie Lennox of Eurythmics for RAD. Please don't drink and drive, and don't drive if someone else has been drinking. Thank you.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Across the nation, people are stepping up for their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the 6th leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat Drink Explore Media, your lifestyle information source.
Been in San Francisco since 1933, become a part of the city's history. People from around the world hang out at my bar. The tourists, the locals, and the famous stars. Even Janis Joplin used to walk through my door. Steve McQueen and Jack LaLanne would pass out on my floor. So call Willie Brown, tell him I'm part of this town. To save the Gold Dust Lounge.
That's right, save the Gold Dust Lounge. And it didn't get saved in its former location, but it is being reborn in a new location out at Fisherman's Wharf. The one there off of Union Square sadly closed its doors last year. And that song was written specifically to keep the Gold Rush, or the Gold Dust rather, open. Now there's a new song saying, you know, woohoo, yeah,
we're saved.
We're saved, and we're getting ready to open. We have the owner of the Gold Dust on the line right now. Nick Bovis joins us. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, we're excited.
Sounds great on there.
It did sound good, didn't it? I love it. She has such a beautiful voice. That's Kat Hill, and I believe Kat's the one that helped arrange this interview. But Nick, you were slated to open January 11th, but that's being pushed off a bit, but for a very interesting reason.
Yeah, the ceiling we had at the original place was created by MGM Theaters for the old owners, Milton Bryce and Bing Crosby. And to recreate it, the ceiling's a little bit different shape. It's a little longer, or about twice as long. So we're trying to recreate it, and it's taking a little longer than we thought.
Right. And so you will announce this week the new opening date.
Yeah, we're getting close to announcing it. I'm afraid to say a date and not be able to...
You don't want to go there just yet.
No.
Right. So the original owners were Bing Crosby and who?
And Milton Price.
And really? And so so many different celebrities have been through that bar, and it was one of my favorite places to go whenever I was shopping in the Union Square area, and also a bar, I guess it would be like your sister bar, Lefty O'Doul's.
Yeah, in Union Square when you're out shopping, one of the little secrets was to get away and do some drinking. And the women knew about it more than the men.
That was like a little bit of a Christmas tradition for us. Typically, we would go into Lefty O'Doul's and have a drink or two there, and you have a piano bar at that one, and we'd do a little singing around the piano bar. I did see, though, and I think it was in the San Francisco Chronicle, while your new location is not open yet, you have already poured some Irish coffees there.
Yeah, we went down there to try out, see if it feels the same, you know, do the tradition. You know, if you don't do something to initiate the first Irish coffee, then, you know, you might not have good luck. So.
Hey, you don't want to cause anything that might result in bad luck, and I hope you have a more ironclad contract with the landlords for this new location.
Yeah, this one here, we were very fortunate. Someone happened to come by when someone was moving out, and we were able to strike a deal that will keep it there for 36 years if we like.
Oh, good. All right, so a 36-year contract. That extends long enough for me.
Randall's good with that.
Me too.
Right? I think that should work.
No, even though it's kind of pushing back the opening date a little bit, I think it's really important that you're bringing all the old feel of the previous location to the new location.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the things is when you start to recreate a place or move a place, the biggest mistake people make is they change it. So I've taken everything I told the contractor just make exactly like the old one. We actually found someone who worked on the front of the original one he's very old now, but he was able to get some of his workers to recreate the front of the facade of the building.
Nice.
So it looks exactly like the old one.
And it'll have that same marquee fashion?
Yes, exactly. They're working on it right now.
That is awesome. I love the fact that it'll still have that same marquee, and the inside will feel the same. The only difference, I guess, would be in its previous location, you would get, every time I was in there, I would run into a group of flight attendants because they'd do their layover, and a lot of times they're
the
put
proximity.
up. Yeah, they're put up in the hotels around Union Square, and so you might not see as many of the flight attendants coming through. But I mean, Fisherman's Wharf, come on, you'll have plenty of tourists.
Luckily, the hotels where they stay at, there is a few down by the wharf, so we can still get maybe a different airlines, but there'll still be flight attendants available to come.
Now at the previous location, Nick, you had music 364 days a year?
No, my dad had a tradition, don't close for anything. So,
They never
like a casino.
So
Never
like a
closed.
casino. So 365 days a year you had music. You'll have live music at the new location as well?
Yeah, and they're doing push-ups right now to get back in shape.
I think that's fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, because you're moving to a new location where people may expect food to be served, will you have any sort of food?
Yes, luckily there's a few restaurants all around there that said they would help us, to run food across the street. But we're going to have in-house just some small appetizers, like some traditional stuff that's available at the wharf, clam chowder, shrimp cocktails, just enough to keep them drinking.
Because, the atmosphere is just different enough from Union Square to Fisherman's Wharf that it just came to me while I was interviewing you. I wondered about the food because I don't think there is a place at Fisherman's Wharf where you don't have that element mixed in, whereas Union Square you have more of just the walk-in bars. So,
right.
Interesting.
There's nothing left, though, in Union Square now. It's only Lefty O'Doul's. There's barely any bars. They're trying to stop us from drinking and shopping. I don't know. We need to reevaluate
What's
that.
going on?
It's up to the mayor.
All right. Now, for people that aren't familiar with the story, the old place that had been there since 1933, the lease ran out, and the owners, which own the Handlery Hotel, signed a contract with, is it Express?
Yeah, it's a clothing store that I think has a shop down the street. I don't want to say anything bad because now we're happy we moved. And
right.
It all worked out.
Good.
Yeah, it all worked out.
I like to hear that. And we, EatDrinkExplore.com, ran the very first story announcing that this was all going to happen, that the bar was going to close. We got a tip from a good friend of ours, Chris Douglas, up in the Bay Area. And then the Chronicle, and which typically you guys have a very good relationship with the Chronicle that runs most of the stuff, but we beat them out. So I called one of my friends who's an editor at the Chronicle, and I said, "Beat ya."
Guess what? Got the scoop.
Right. I got the skinny. Eat Drink Explore doesn't always get the scoop, but we did that time.
We can do the first interview with you, like right now, before they get it. On it.
See, we got it.
So the opening, yeah.
I scooped them twice. Now I have to. I need to let them know. And what we will do is we'll put this interview into a form that's online after the show today, so that we can get it out there before the Chronicle. Unless they're listening right now, and then they're going to beat us. So, all right, Nick Bovis, owner of the Gold Dust Saloon. We really are excited that you're reopening, and when we find out what that opening date will be, we'll be down there to celebrate in fine fashion and likely get a room in the Fisherman's Wharf area so that so that there won't be any problems following that.
Yeah, and we just want to say, drink up, America.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you doing the interview, and best of luck with the opening celebration.
All right, thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
And so, the Gold Dust is just one of those old school locations that, there are times when a bar changes location and it maintains its character. In fact, that happened here in San Luis Obispo.
McCarthy's moved, and it was a great success.
McCarthy's. It was a little hole in the wall,
Yeah.
and it's a larger hole in the wall now, but but now they have a patio and all that sort of stuff.
But they still maintained that ambiance that people went there for. So that was a successful move for them, and looks like the Gold Dust is on the way.
Yeah, I hope it works out for them because they're really great people. All right, 9:28 the time. When we come back, we're learning cooking tips from one of the Central Coast top chefs. Maybe you've heard of it, the Madonna Inn. Right. We have their executive chef coming up in just a moment with all of what she learned up in San Francisco and then growing up here on the Central Coast. You're listening to Eat, Drink, Explore. Back in a moment.
Some of California's best restaurants, hotels, and homes are perched on steep hillsides with incredible views. But those buildings weren't just thrown there. They were placed on foundations designed and perfected by experts. Throughout much of the Bay Area, those hillside foundations were placed by S.S. Caveney Construction. With nearly 3 decades of experience dealing with the steepest and most difficult terrain, S.S. Caveney Construction is well known for being the go-to company when quality is your number one concern. Hillsides in California, as you know, are prone to drainage issues that can lead to erosion and slippage. S.S. Caveney Construction will solve those problems for you. Get a quote today by contacting the team you need. Head to S.S. Caveney, that's CAVENEY.com, and get your foundation placed correctly the first time.
I'm in almost every school bus and classroom. I go to school with your children. We say the Pledge of Allegiance together. You see me around the neighborhood and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm 1 out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger. This problem is closer than you think. My teacher tells me we can grow up to be whatever we want. I want to grow up to be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry. There's enough food in this country to feed everybody. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help. Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hello, this is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and I want to tell you about my new favorite discovery, Yosemite National Park. I recently went there with my husband and children, and we walked the trails to see the breathtaking waterfalls, admired the grand meadows, and giant sequoias. But the future of our national parks is uncertain. Many challenges face our parks today, from polluted air and water to development threats outside their borders and inadequate funding to protect our national heritage. That's why the National Parks Conservation Association recently completed a decade-long assessment of the challenges facing our national parks, along with proposed actions that will ensure our children and grandchildren will be able to enjoy the parks as we have. Our national parks have inspired Americans for nearly 100 years. As we approach the centennial of the National Park Service in 2016, please join us in helping to protect our national park legacy. Find out how at www.mpca.org.
At the American Lung Association, we're fighting for a day when we can all breathe easier. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. We're fighting to free millions of Americans from the addictive grip of tobacco and the devastating effects of lung disease. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air, we're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing, and we can use your help. See what you can do at fightingforair.org.
This is Betty White. I know you don't need one more thing to worry about, but listen, high blood pressure can cause kidney damage, blindness, heart attack, stroke, and you can have high blood pressure even if you feel all right. 1 in 7 adults has it, but it's easy to get your blood pressure checked, and you can treat it if it is too high. So don't worry about it, don't ignore it, just see your doctor and check it out.
For your free booklet, visit the Will Rogers Institute at wrinstitute.org and find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. Here now is your fabulous host, Mr. Randall White.
9:33 now the time here on this Sunday morning, Sunday Fun Day as we like to call it. Great to have you joining us and hope your morning's off to a good start. You're somewhat dry and not it because it's raining throughout most of the state. I'm joined by the lovely, talented Patty Pyburn.
Good morning, everyone.
Yes, and so we just spoke to the owner of the Gold Dust Lounge up in San Francisco, and then we're just mixing it up a little bit. We're going to the Gold Rush Steakhouse.
Staying with the theme.
We're staying with the theme, and so if I mess up during this and I accidentally call it the Gold Dust, you understand why.
We'll cut you some slack
because it's right there, on the tip of my tongue. No, it's the Gold Rush, and it really is a central Californian tradition. It is at the Madonna Inn, and it is the Alex Madonna Gold Rush Steakhouse, and their executive chef joins us this morning. It is Jackie Hanover, and a very good day to you, Jackie.
Good morning.
We really appreciate you being here, and Jackie just told me that she had to drive down from Paso Robles, which, as we know, it's 35, 40 minutes or so, and it's raining out there, so you made it in one piece. We're happy about that. And then since you're the executive chef, I imagine I used to work in the restaurant business. It's rare that you get home on a Saturday night early. So I hope you're rested and everything. Good. Okay, so you got your start. Well, first of all, we should mention that throughout the month of January, we will be featuring local restaurants because it is California Restaurant Month. And here in San Luis Obispo County, it's San Luis Obispo County Restaurant Month. You can look up your individual county wherever you may be listening. Most of the counties do have something going on. San Luis Obispo has an interesting one where it's $30 for a 3-course meal, right?
Right.
And Madonna Inn is taking part in that.
Yes, we are.
And so that's one of the situations where, like, for instance, we ate at Lido Restaurant out in Shell Beach the other night. It's one of those restaurants you think about eating at, but you're like, it's a little on the pricey side, but this is a good way to go there and sample it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and try, and so you put together a special menu just for this.
We did. The first course, you can have your choice of soup or salad or a crostini. That's an appetizer. Second course is ribs, or we're offering top as well now. So you can try one of our steaks.
Nice.
And then, of course, for dessert, either the Black Forest cake or the pink champagne, which are our signature cakes.
They are your signature cakes, and they're so delicious. And I love the fact that you're able to get steaks on there as well. Oh, you know what? I'm told that on our internet, I'm echoing again.
You got the little echo
for
thing
people that are
going on.
watching online. I apologize. We'll fix that during the commercial break. But so in the first course, you mentioned the crostini, and you shared that recipe with us, and people can find it online.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the one with the fig.
The figs and the goat
Ooh,
cheese.
I saw that picture. That looks really delicious.
And so when I think of Madonna Inn Steakhouse, I think of old school steakhouse that is I have imagined in my head what's going to be offered on the menu.
Right.
You got your roots here on the Central Coast, and then you moved up and trained under some amazing top chefs in San Francisco, right?
Right. I went to culinary school up there, and then I worked for Bradley Ogden for a while, and Judy Rogers, and yeah.
Bradley Ogden's a big deal. And so, so then you're taking some of your San Francisco training and your Central Coast roots and mixing them together. So I imagine then you've updated the Gold Rush, or I'm sorry, the Gold Rush menu. See,
you got it right.
Gold Rush menu to a more modern one.
We're incorporating some of my ideas in the appetizers and that sort of thing. Of course, our steakhouse menu kind of stays the same as far as the steaks are concerned, but we're also offering the local abalone on our menu. And some nice innovations there. And on our banquet menu especially, we're doing a lot of things for people when they want to have their parties there. We kind of work with them to have special type menus.
And you get the abalone from our friend with the abalone farm, Brad, out in Cayucos?
Yes.
Yeah, they're good people.
Yeah.
And those abalones, I think they're delicious. We were speaking a little bit earlier about that.
Yes.
Ricardo's not a big fan. But, and so what would you say is then your style of cooking falls more in the fresh and local?
Yes, I mean, we really use fresh ingredients. We cut all our own steaks. We roast all our own meats for our sandwiches in the coffee shop. I mean, everything is done by hand, but we just go for the freshest and best products we can use. And it's it's simple fare in some ways, but honest fare. You know, everything's fresh. And
what's a favorite? Like, what do people kind of go back to all the time? We want your... What's on the menu?
That's one thing that's
besides
crazy.
The cake.
Is I think we're one of the only places that offer a Monte Cristo, and people really go for that.
What, I saw that on a menu in Palm Springs. What is the Monte Cristo?
It's a sandwich that's like stacked with ham and turkey and Swiss cheese, and there's 3 pieces of bread. Then it's dipped like French toast in egg batter and then fried.
Whoa.
And then it's powdered sugar and served with jam.
So it's a combination of savory and sweet.
And sweet.
Gosh.
Right. And it's really popular. People love it.
Patty, that sounds like something your family would embrace.
It
Especially if
like
you fry it in butter.
It's more oil, but yeah.
Because if it was butter, then Patty and her kids would be lined up at the door.
We're all about the butter.
To take part right away. So that's the Monte Cristo. I was thinking to order it for breakfast on New Year's morning, as a matter of fact. And
that would be a good alcohol flicker.
Yeah.
I was going to say. Right. I was looking at it and I was thinking, should I get that?
Hangover antidote.
What did I? Now I don't even remember what I ended up getting. But where do you source your steaks?
We have different local providers that we get them from.
Right, and so it comes, and then you cut them up there.
We cut our steaks, right? They
Really?
come in the whole pieces. And,
Yeah.
And I have 3 steakhouse cooks that are just excellent, and they cut and cook all those steaks.
Right. So, at what point? So you were working up in the Bay Area, and then you were born and raised in Paso. In Paso?
No, in Arroyo Grande, actually.
Oh, in AG. That's where Patty lives.
That's where I live, Arroyo Grande.
Yeah. And so Patty's, if you can't see her, she's giving like the power fist, like power to the AG people.
Yeah.
And so, at what point did you then get the opportunity to move back to the Central Coast from San Francisco, and of all places, the Madonna Inn? I mean, I imagine there are a few places in the nation where you have to explain to people where you work, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, how long have you been there now?
I've been there almost 13 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And so I ride past it every single day on my bike because you guys put in that wonderful bike path that now connects one side of San Luis with the other.
That's a busy thoroughfare now that is all connected up. I see people on there all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that. I come at weird times, and so I pass joggers, but I do pass commuters as well. And I know that path really helped out because there's only one junior high school in all of San Luis Obispo, and it's on the Madonna Inn side of town. And so for the people that live on the downtown side, for those kids to get across and over there, they now have a path that's in there. So I think that's really cool. So as you were working under Bradley Ogden, who now has restaurants all over, I believe, California and even Vegas, right?
And isn't there one down in the Solvang, Santa Ynez area now? A new one,
I think, connected to the Shumash Casino.
Right. Yes. Route 154.
Yeah,
something like that. Route something. 264. Yeah, there you go.
While you were working under Bradley Ogden, did you ever have like an aha moment where he was teaching you, you were learning some different things and you're like, okay, that makes sense to me now?
Yeah. I learned a lot from him, I really did. It was my first experience out of school. And so I started working for him in for the employee lounge, which we had a whole kitchen there, and then he booted me upstairs. So I guess that was kind of my here I am, right to work in the big kitchen now.
At which restaurant is that?
That was at Campton Place Hotel.
At Campton Place Hotel?
Yeah.
And is Bradley Ogden the one behind Lark Creek Inn?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I have been to one of his restaurants.
And it's Route 246. I knew it was... something. I said 154 first. Route 246, to be accurate.
If you keep hearing little dings in the background, that's my phone going off.
Text saying you're echoing,
yes,
Randall.
my sister Sue is telling me I'm echoing for
Thank
our
you, Sue.
online viewers. I believe.
Now, Jackie, Randall was talking about your kind of aha moment. I would like to hear why chefs become chefs. Like, usually it has something around a passion for food and feeding people. But what inspired you to become a chef?
Well, when I was a kid, my parents both worked, so I made the family meals when they were at work, and so that started it off, I think. But then my dad opened an ice cream store in Arroyo Grande, Bernardo's. He was the original owner there.
That's Doc Bernstein's, right?
Yeah, it's Doc Bernstein's now.
Yeah.
So from there, I just wanted to further my education on the culinary.
We have that in common, the whole cooking while your parents are working.
Yes,
I had a stay-at-home mom until 6th grade, and then she went back to work, and so then during my junior high school and high school years...
You had to figure out how to feed yourself.
I did, because they were big, they were both tired, and so when they got home, they'd go out to eat. So we ate out a lot, but if I wanted to hang out with my friends, I needed to make something. So most of my experience was I would try to replicate what I had when I went out to eat. And so I started making these pretty elaborate dishes, and my parents would taste it and be like, you know what, that's pretty good. Why are we going out to eat? Randall's cooking tonight.
Randall can do it.
And so along the same lines, I didn't follow that all the way to become a chef, but it sounds like you had that similar sort of thing going on.
Right.
So, all right, we are speaking with Jackie Hanover. She's the executive chef at the Madonna Inn. It is the Alex Madonna Gold Rush Steakhouse, and we are back in just a moment. 9:44 the time.
The holidays are now over, but Restaurant Month here in California is just getting started as January unfolds with a wave of culinary diversity. The hottest place in the state to take it all in is along the Central Coast in San Luis Obispo County. Featured on local menus are ingredients grown on nearby farms, savory seafood caught that day in the Pacific Ocean, and grass-fed beef raised on the county's lush green hillsides, all served with a touch of Western flavor unique to the region. Not only are these offerings among the best in the nation, but these foods are paired with top local wines, craft brews, and outstanding scenery. When considering your 2013 New Year's resolutions, be sure to include an education for your palate, an experience that can only come from visiting the culinary destination that is San Luis Obispo County. Oh, and I'm sure saving money is on your list of resolutions as well. Perfect, because participating restaurants are offering substantial 3-course menus for just $30. This is your opportunity to sample some of the many establishments you've talked about visiting but never have, or revisiting some of your old favorites. And because SLO County is at the heart of Central Coast wine country, a new element is being added this year called Wine Wednesdays. Now, select restaurants will be pairing their menus with a local vintner's selections, and look for other wine-related options as well. San Luis Obispo County's 6th annual Restaurant Month runs January 1st through the 31st, but don't wait until the month is almost over to start enjoying this annual tradition. Don't hesitate. Find the restaurant of your choice and make your reservations now. For more information, head to sanluisobispocounty.com and start planning your next mouth-watering adventure.
Hi, this is Rick Moranis. You know, some people are more careful about what they feed their cars than what they feed their bodies. They know that the wrong fuel can hurt a car's performance and maybe ruin the engine. But the wrong food can have the same effect on your health. Too much fat, too many calories, and too little of what's good for you can affect how well you feel and even lead to serious illness. So eat right. It'll help you keep running smooth.
For more information, visit the Will Rogers Institute at wrinstitute.org or call toll-free 877-957-7575 and find us on Facebook and Twitter. Wayne Brady for the Will Rogers Institute.
Hey folks, I've got something that will truly revolutionize your life. It's called exercise. It will get you from here to there, allow you to spend time with your family and meet new people, cut inches from your waistline, and improve the quality of your life. even help improve your self-image. Sexy. So when you've got to choose between moving around or lying on the couch, choose exercise. You won't be sorry.
For your free booklet, visit wrinstitute.org or call toll-free 877-957-7575 and find us on Facebook and Twitter.
For the latest video and information from today's show, head on over to eatdrinkexplore.com. We're constantly updating it with the latest food, beverage, and travel trends. Also, we're launching a new section of the site called California Love. This is where we recommend great companies, and the best part is every single business we feature is locally owned. We've checked them out and are confident you'll love them as much as we do. This is a great tool to have as we head into the holiday shopping season. Since you're already spending money, you might as well support your neighbor. We choose businesses that give back to the community, care about the environment, or use only the freshest local and organic ingredients. They also make their products here, not overseas. Our California Love business recommendation tool is still in the development stages, but will be available very soon at eatdrinkexplore.com. Eat Drink Explore Media, your lifestyle information source.
And a very, very good Sunday fun day to you. 9:49 now the time. This is our final segment for the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. 2 hours of conversation about the latest food, beverage, and travel trends, primarily here in California. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show thus far. I'm your host, Randall White, joined by Patty Pyburn.
Good morning, everyone.
Yes, good morning to you. And we are joined for this segment by Executive Chef Jackie Hanover with Alex Madonna's Gold Rush Steakhouse at the Madonna Inn Resort and Spa. And you can go to eatdrinkexplore.com and click on recipes, and you'll see featured there Jackie's cheese and fig crostini, which has a very interesting story behind it. We were talking during the commercial break. We were talking about the show Iron Chef, where they're given a list of ingredients, and then it's like, go,
right,
and make something,
build something around this one ingredient.
And Jackie, you were telling us that this cheese and fig crostini dish has roots that are sort of like that same situation, right?
Right. We were asked to do the Savor, the mission dinner, and they gave me a list of ingredients. We had to come up with 3 appetizers, and so this is one of the appetizers off of those ingredients. The fig was in there, so.
And the ingredients were from Mission Times?
Mission Times, right.
Yeah, and so so you get this list of ingredients, and you're like, all right, how am I going to make something modern from Mission Time ingredients, right?
Right.
And so what made you think to marry these different ingredients?
I think the fig and the port just go really well together, and they were having a wine pouring session during the appetizer pass around, so I just thought that would go great with red wine.
Yeah. And you're seeing more, I'm seeing more of it anyway, of the sweet and savory together. Like you're seeing the salt on the chocolate, right? Those sorts of things.
I love those flavors.
It's a good blend, right? And I guess really what we were talking about before, the Monte Cristo sandwich is that way as well.
Right.
With the savory and the sweet. So this includes, which we have plenty of in California, wonderful sourdough baguettes, right? Just find your closest artisan one. I like to use, is it Brian's Bakery here locally?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, really good stuff. And then you use half a pound of figs and you finely chop them.
Right.
And then 3/4 of a cup of port. I'd have a hard time making that into the for the port.
Well, you would have to put double that, one for you and one for the recipe.
right. So 1.5 cups of port.
Yes.
And half of that goes into the recipe, and then a half a cup of sugar, a half a cup of water. And you put the water in there because you're going to be reducing it.
We're going to be reducing it. So you want to reduce it 15, maybe a little bit longer minutes to get that syrupy consistency.
And reduction just means keeping it on heat for...
Just keep boiling it.
Just keep boiling it.
Boiling it down, yeah. So you're kind of boiling the water out, so the sugar and the port is going to make your syrup.
So they blend. What would happen if you didn't put the half a cup of water in there? Would you have a shorter reduction time? No, you have to...
I don't know. Would you be able to cook it with just the port, or would you have a burning situation?
Yeah, I think you'd have a burning.
So the water keeps it from burning,
right?
Oh, okay, and then
while releasing the sugars from the fig as well.
Oh, right, because you want a longer boiling time for that to happen. Okay, so that makes sense. See, there's a reason why the ingredients are in the recipe. Randall, stop second guessing. 8 ounces of goat cheese. Do you have a particular goat cheese you prefer?
Some of the local ones are really good.
Yeah. What's the one out of Templeton?
That was the one I was thinking.
I know. I can't think of Happy
Oh yeah, Happy Acres.
Happy Acres.
Yeah. That was the one.
And those
we
goats are on a
used,
special
actually.
diet.
They are, and the owner knows them all by name. If
Yes.
you go visit her, she can.
That's a great place.
She could just be pulling names out of her hat. I don't know, but but when I've been there, she'll be like, "Come over here, Lizabelle," and she seems
Susie
to know
Q.
them all, right? Exactly. And then finally, and this is the part that I like, and I didn't realize this came from Mission Times, but a half a cup of toasted pistachios, finely chopped.
Mm-hmm.
And so to toast the pistachios, do they come that way, or you just throw them in?
You can get them that way.
You can get them that way.
Already toasted.
Trader Joe's or something.
Joe's, yeah.
I know. We've become a little bit lazy with Trader Joe's makes things really easy. And they're not a sponsor. I'm just saying. It's like,
But you could toast them yourself in the oven.
And what does the toasting do? Bring out some of sort of caramelizes a little? Mm-hmm.
And you want that crunch.
Yeah.
Because pistachios just on their own aren't as crunchy.
Mm-hmm.
Pistachios, I could be wrong, but I'm almost certain that like 90% of the pistachios grown in the U.S. are here in California.
I would say so.
Yeah. And so, and they color them. That's not a natural color. I forget why I forget why they did that. There was a reason behind it.
I know, I can't remember either, but you're right, there is a reason.
And then finally, the ingredient that goes in, seriously, 3 out of 4 dishes I make at my house, olive oil. And the wonderful thing about California is we have some of the best olive oil in the world now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's everywhere.
Right.
You use a lot of olive oil at Madonna Inn?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of olive oil.
Yeah. So so then throw these together, and you'll come up with, you'll really impress your friends. And the picture that we have online, you have a little mint sprig right in the middle. Do you find, that is mint?
That is mint.
Okay, good. I was guessing, but...
Grown at the Madonna Inn.
Really? Do you have an herb farm there?
Oh, we have, our gardeners grow herbs throughout the property.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so I figured the Madonna family has plenty of land, so you could you can probably source a lot of stuff just through the family.
Right.
Yeah. So
but we have herbs and plants growing all over the property. So
yeah, nice little resource there. How many different restaurants are at the Madonna Inn?
We've got the coffee shop and the steakhouse, and then we've got a lot of banquet rooms as well. So
yeah,
at any time there can be banquets going on.
The one you can see from the highway that's kind of rounded, that's like a banquet with all the glass. That's
the round room. It's a banquet room. Right.
I was always wanting that one to be a public room because it just looks so cool. I want to be in the round one, but they're like, no, it's for banquets only. I'm like, well, I don't have enough friends to have a banquet. I don't know if I can do that. But for people that haven't been to the Madonna Inn, there's a lot of pink.
There's a lot of pink.
There's a lot of gold, and it's on purpose this way, over the top, right?
Right, over the top. It's just fun.
Now, what about when you plate the dishes? Are you trying to make it look over the top as well, or is that the one subdued thing that comes out?
I would say some of the portions are over
the top. Especially if it's a top sirloin.
The steaks are huge. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the sandwiches as well. Our beef dip is like one of the best on the Central Coast, I would say.
My dad has his best friend, a guy named Vern, who when he's originally from the Central Coast here, and they always make it to the Madonna Inn for the steaks because that's what he wants, like the biggest, giantest, juiciest steak ever. You know. What about some of the rules around cooking meats? Can you still serve meat that's like pretty much mooing inside? Right. Yeah.
You can if the customer requests it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
If they say I want it rare, then they've taken.
That's how they get it.
Yeah. They've taken that.
And they have to sign that waiver that you handed.
No, we haven't gotten that far yet.
Executive Chef Jackie Hanover from the Madonna Inn, specifically the Gold Rush Steakhouse there. Thank you for joining us today on Eat, Drink, Explore.
Thank you for having me.
And make sure you head over to eatdrinkexplore.com and check out her cheese and fig crostini recipe. It is a
delicious.
Good one. All right, I just want to thank everyone involved with putting this show together. And next week, we're going international. The art of using chopsticks. You know, there's a lot of rules around them. We'll be explaining coming up. Make it a great day, everyone.
You've been listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore radio program. If you missed any of our segments today, look for them online or through our free Apple and Android apps. Catch you back right here next week.